This is the Mondoweiss podcast. I'm Dave Reed. A Girl Scout troop in Missouri recently broke away from the organization after it made legal threats against the group. For the Girl Scouts Agents of Change capstone project, a St. Louis County troop decided to make and sell bracelets to raise money for children in Gaza. The Girl Scouts of Eastern Missouri said the move was political and instructed them to shut down the fundraiser. The children in this particular troop were inspired by other troops that raised money for war victims in Ukraine. Those troops faced no repercussions over their fundraisers. Despite breaking away from the Girl Scouts of Eastern Missouri, the group is staying together, and their bracelet campaign has continued. Mondoweiss' U.S. correspondent Michael Arria spoke with Girl Scout troop leader and mother to one of the girls, Nawal Abuhamdeh, and two of the Girl Scouts about this situation.
To start, I was wondering if everyone could just kind of explain. I know that this was part of a capstone project, which is assigned as part of the Girl Scouts, and you picked this humanitarian nonprofit, Palestine Children's Relief Fund, to potentially raise money for. Can you talk about kind of what inspired you to pick that group and what inspired you to focus on Gaza when it came to your project?
We started off wanting to do a take action project, and we were going to make give trash cans to the local mosque. And we decided that instead we were going to help the people in Gaza, and instead of selling cookies and doing our take action project, we didn't feel comfortable to do that, and instead we decided to help Gaza and make bracelets for Palestine and the children of Gaza.
What inspired me is knowing what's happening in Gaza right now. I really wanted to try my best to help them and raise money for them. And it makes me feel good to know that I'm helping them with what's happening right now in Gaza.
Yeah, so for the last, has it been 4 or 5 months now? Palestine has been on our minds. I mean, not just me, Maria and Talia as Palestinians, but the other girls as well that have backgrounds in Somalia and Pakistan, India, and Syria. And all the girls wanted to do is to help the people of Palestine. And what other project could they take besides making bracelets, And we obviously can't send friendship bracelets to the children in Gaza. So the only realistic thing that we could think of was to make money from the bracelets to send to Gaza. So at least maybe we could feed them or help them in some type of way.
Mm-hmm. You both kind of mentioned that you were inspired by kind of what you've seen from Gaza, what you've heard, or maybe what your families have experienced. Can you maybe talk a little bit about your feelings, like what you felt in recent months watching what's happening, especially like you say, like what's happening to children in the area that are probably your age? Can you talk about that experience?
I felt really sad, and I felt that I had to do something, and instead of just sitting there and looking, I wanted to physically do something to help them.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of felt horrific, knowing that children my age and under are being killed and everything like that. And sometimes I go across videos that make me feel really sad about what's happening in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't get emotional unless the kids talk. It's really hard. I'm so strong. And then when kids start talking about it, or when I start to think about other kids that don't have the same privileges and just necessities of just water and food and shelter, it just makes me so emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And I always go back to when we had a restorative circle with the girls to just see where their headspaces were. I mean, it was the end of October, beginning of November, and it really broke my heart to hear the stories from these girls and how they were feeling. And they were saying that they don't want to be happy because they felt guilty about not being able to help the children in Gaza. And not only that, there was stories from the girls that 2 of the girls are from Syria. It brought really hard emotions for them as well, because as you know, the issues in Syria are also dire, And there's another girl from Somalia who was just bawling her eyes out, thinking about how the stories that her dad was telling her about how he became a refugee, right? So It's so close to our hearts, and these girls are really having big feelings about this.
Mm-hmm. So I think I read just 2 days after you kind of launched this campaign to make these bracelets and raise this money, the Girl Scouts, the organization itself, or Girl Scouts of Eastern Missouri, I guess, reached out and said that you had to stop the fundraising campaign and even take down social media posts connected to the campaign. Maybe you can talk about the logistics of that decision, but first, maybe I could hear from the kids about how they felt when they heard that Girl Scouts was asking them to stop the campaign.
Well, I felt discouraged because they encouraged the Girl Scouts to help Ukraine and do stuff for Ukraine. But then when it comes to Gazan kids, they don't want to do the same. It just didn't make sense that we couldn't do what the other girls could do.
Mm-hmm.
I felt really angry and mad about how they silenced us, but then in Ukraine, it's like as if they care more about Ukraine and they don't care about mostly us because we're Palestinian.
It was unfair, right? Like, what is the difference between any humanitarian crisis other than where the kids are, you know? Do we have to really humanize Gazan children and the people of Gaza for people to care? It's really unreal. And at that point, we wanted to know where Girl Scouts stood in humanity. You know, are they pro-genocide? Are they pro-peace? I want to know. We want to know if we're going to be members of this organization. We have a right to understand how they feel about this. If they're going to be so vocal about it for Ukraine, why so silent when the worst is happening in Gaza? Their silence was so loud to us.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if everybody understands maybe the structure of how the Girl Scout organization works. Anybody can field this question, or more than one person, but could you maybe explain? It's my understanding that the girls have decided to part ways with the Girl Scout organization, but am I correct in understanding that the group will stay together despite that?
Yeah. I think you guys would be so sad if we did it, right? It was always the plan. We were never going to separate. We have a strong bond with one another. You know, they're not only friends, they've grown up with each other since preschool. They're like sisters. Mm-hmm. So we will continue to fight for the causes that we believe in and build the skills that we want to learn and build our character and just be the true leaders that they could be.
Mm-hmm. Kids, how do you feel about the group?
I feel really happy with the bond that we've had, and it's better knowing that we're all in this together and making sure that we all know like how we're doing it and everything.
I feel comfortable with our group, and I don't think that leaving Girl Scouts will make a difference in our group because we can do more things together and we will still stay together. That's the only part that really matters.
Yeah, very well said. I just have one more question, which is I was wondering if everybody could kind of talk about the state of the fundraiser. It obviously continued despite this, and I'm imagining that it got a lot more publicity as a result of this situation. Can you talk about how the fundraiser has gone so far and kind of what happens next with it?
So we sold more than 1,000, like
2,100. Yeah.
2,100. And the bracelets are a bit difficult to make, but it's fun making them because you get to talk with the other girls. You get to build your skills on making bracelets. I'm really also happy that we're gaining a lot of money to go to Gaza and Gazan kids to help them. And I hope that it makes a difference in the world.
Well, actually, tomorrow we're leading a community event to make bracelets, and it makes me feel good that we sold so many and people want to help with what's happening right now.
I think the bracelets themselves have become a symbol for something. It became a symbol for resilience and for speaking out against the issues that matter most. And I think they stand for humanity, you know?
Well, thank you guys so much for talking to me. I really appreciate it. This has been really great. And good luck with the campaign.
Can I read a poem I did for Girl Scouts?
Of course, I would love that.
Okay. In Girl Scouts, we learn to be honest, to always be true, to stand for others, whatever we do. In Gaza, I saw kids so sad, hurt, and hungry, it made me feel sad. I remembered what you said, to help whenever I can, so I'll use what I learned and give them a hand. But wait a minute. Suddenly, it got all mixed up. I couldn't see. I wanted to try, but you told me to be quiet and not say your name. You seem so unsure, but it's all the same. Dear Girl Scouts, I will not use your name, but I won't back down from the aim.
Wow, that was beautiful. Thank you so much for reading that.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
I just get emotional when these girls talk.
What we really want to know from Girl Scouts right now is we really want them to say what they think about what we're doing and why it was so wrong to them that we were making bracelets for Gaza and for the people. And that's all I really want to know from Girl Scouts, why they wanted us to put down the post so bad, why they didn't want us to make the bracelets, and why they thought that it was all about politics.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't prompt these girls. I didn't talk to them. I told them to speak from their heart. And as you can see, they feel like they were unheard, you know? And although I could say, hey, we disbanded because we have more important work to do,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not going to let an organization define us. But these girls still want answers. And it's almost like they want closure. I mean, they've been Girl Scouts since they were in kindergarten, first grade.
Yeah.
You know, this is who they thought they were for 5 years.
When we were daisies.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to help us make our voices be heard.
Oh, well, thank you so much for talking to me. We feel very privileged and honored to be able to tell your story.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks again.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
That's our show. Mondoweiss is a nonprofit publication with no paywalls. If you would like to support our work, please go to mondoweiss.net/donate. Please leave a rating and review to help other listeners find the show. Subscribe to one of our free email newsletters so you can stay up to date on events in Palestine and related politics here in the US and around the world. Finally, if you have any more feedback, send me an email at dave@mondoweiss.net. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon with a new episode.